Today, we're exploring something absolutely fascinating and honestly a little bizarre. We're diving into the internal workings of the ultimate iron beast, the locomotive. For nearly 2 centuries, these massive machines have conquered continents, revolutionized trade, and captured our imaginations. But we aren't just looking at boring blueprints or nuts and bolts today. No, we are going to look at the anatomy of a train in a way you have literally never seen before. You know, we've all heard trains affectionately called iron horses, right? It's a classic metaphor. But what if we took that metaphor completely literally? What if we looked at these towering machines as living, breathing, biological organisms? Imagine a locomotive with giant staring shunt optic oculators. Yeah, those are massive green-irised eyeballs peering right out from the front and actual fleshy lungs and brains packed inside its metal skin. It looks like something straight out of a mad scientist laboratory, but it actually provides a shockingly cool framework for understanding what really goes on under the hood. Because ultimately, human engineering is fundamentally trying to replicate the incredible efficiency of biological processes, just using the brutal, unyielding materials of steel and fire. To make sense of this surreal anatomy, here is our game plan for today. We'll explore 1. The iron fleshy horse, 2. The mind and the eyes, 3. The belly of the beast, 4. Steam and diesel realities, and finally 5. It comes down to heat. Starting off with Section 1. The iron fleshy horse. Let's kick off this anatomical tour right at the front of the creature. According to our incredibly weird yet super detailed biological model, the very front of the train is protected by what they call the buffereal rostrescrills. Take a close look at those red, muscular-looking protrusions down there. In a living organism, these would be the fleshy, shock-absorbing buffers, essentially thick, calloused skin and fat designed to protect the beast from head-on collisions with obstacles on the track. It's a fascinating, if maybe slightly gross, piece of fictional anatomy. And seeing the fantasy side by side with the reality brilliantly illustrates the contrast here. With the biological model, you have giant unblinking eyeballs and squishy, fleshy buffers. But then you look at the stark reality of a modern diesel locomotive. Instead of soft tissue, the front of a real train is an imposing solid wall of hard steel, heavy-duty handrails, snowplows, and powerful electric headlights piercing through the dark. Those mechanical bumpers and couplings are forged from incredibly dense iron, engineered to withstand thousands of tons of force. It's the ultimate trade-off between the adaptability of flesh and the sheer, unyielding durability of heavy industry. Moving right along to Section 2, the mind and the eyes. As we move down the chassis, let's step behind the eyes and examine the brain center of the operation. In our fleshy beast, the Kobernik cabin hut serves as the skull. It's essentially the thick, hard cranium that safely houses the delicate mind of our biological locomotive. Every complex organism needs a command center to process sensory input, like what those giant shunt optic oculators are seeing, so it can make split-second decisions about speed and direction, right? But here is the crucial twist. Tucked safely inside that biological skull is a literal, pink, wrinkled brain labeled the serpentractical cortex. It's squishy, vulnerable, and supposedly does all the thinking. But when we look over at the mechanical reality, it's a steel cab housing a complex array of driving controls. In the real world, the machine absolutely doesn't have a brain of its own. The cortex is actually the highly trained human engineer sitting right there in that cab, pulling the levers, monitoring the gauges, and acting as the true neurological center of the entire train. Next up, Section 3, the belly of the beast. Now we dive deep into the guts. This is where the raw power of the organism and the machine is generated. Looking at this biological engine room, it is just wonderfully strange. In the center, we have the dieselvoric Kurbelworks, which looks like this ribbed, highly muscular structure, probably designed to physically pump or compress energy. Next to it sits the white electrogenic Wandel organ. In this fictional anatomy, these bizarre organs act as the digestive powerhouse, taking in fuel and converting it through strange biological processes into the immense kinetic energy needed to launch the beast forward. The contrast is just staggering when you place those colorful, fleshy organs next to the massive reality of an exposed diesel engine block sitting in a maintenance workshop. Just look at that monster of forged steel. There are zero soft tissues here. It is an absolute beast of bolts, exhaust manifolds, and cylinders. This single engine block weighs tons and is engineered to withstand explosive internal pressures that, let's be real, would vaporize biological tissue in a fraction of a second. So instead of lungs, intestines, and fleshy valves, The actual vital organs of a diesel locomotive are these mechanical marvels working together in perfect harmony. You have the radiator and its fan acting as the cooling sweat glands. The massive diesel engine itself is the beating heart. You have the fluid coupling, the air compressor acting like mechanical lungs for the brakes, the gearbox and drive shafts serving as the muscular skeletal system, all culminating in the driving wheels. These components rapidly work together to digest diesel fuel and generate the immense torque required to pull miles of heavy freight. Let's roll right into Section 4, Steam and Diesel Realities. Let's step out of the anatomical lab and onto the open tracks. Notice the raw combustion of this diesel locomotive as it throttles up. It may entirely lack those pink, fleshy lungs we saw in our biological diagram, but it certainly exhales like a living, angry monster. The thick plumes of black smoke bellowing from the exhaust stack are the direct result of the intense, fiery digestion happening within that massive steel engine block we just looked at. It's a highly visceral, powerful reminder of the sheer energy being unleashed inside. Now let's see how all of this builds into movement. If you look at the bottom of the fleshy diagram, you'll see a strange yellow, bone-like structure called the track articulating scoot splines. It looks almost like a leg or a flipper meant to push the train along. But our mechanical diagram completely debunks this fantasy. To actually move, the real machine relies on a beautifully complex system of steel coupling rods, drive shafts, and counterbalances. It's a literal symphony of rotating metal that translates internal rotational force into forward momentum, proving that human engineering often requires solutions way more rooted than in biology to conquer friction and gravity. But we absolutely can't talk about the anatomy of locomotives without paying deep respect to the original iron horses, classic steam locomotives. Long before the hum of diesel engines, these were the undisputed kings of the rails. They're beautifully complex machines driven entirely by fire, boiling water, and intense pressure. If a diesel engine is a contained series of rapid explosions, a steam engine is essentially a harnessed, raging inferno on wheels. I mean, just look at the immense, cloud-like exhalations of this steam train making its way through the countryside. It is breathtaking. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you do not need biological anatomy, soft tissues, or fleshy lungs to breathe life into thousands of tons of steel. The mechanical respiration of a steam engine, chuffing out vast plumes of white vapor into the cold air, feels incredibly alive. It genuinely possesses a soul forged in coal and water. Which brings us to our final point. Section 5. It comes down to heat. Wrapping up our anatomical exploration, we have to ask the ultimate question. What is the fundamental lifeblood that powers both the fantasy organism and the mechanical reality? The answer is surprisingly simple, and it echoes through every cylinder and boiler ever built. Whether you are looking at an absurd biological fantasy with giant eyeballs and fleshy stomachs, or the cold, hard steel of a combustion engine, the ultimate driving force of every locomotive is rhythmically, beautifully simple. Heat, 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 heat. It is the conversion of thermal energy into mechanical work. Heat is the pulse. It is the heartbeat. It is the singular purpose of all that complex anatomy, biological or mechanical, working together to conquer friction and gravity. Which leaves us with a truly fascinating thought to ponder. As we continue to engineer machines with growing power, integrating advanced neural networks, AI sensors that act exactly like eyes, and systems that self-regulate their own temperatures, much like homeostasis in a mammal, it leaves you wondering, if heat is the lifeblood and intelligence is the new frontier, will the line between mechanical engineering and biological anatomy ever truly blur? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the anatomy of the Iron Horse.